Imagine walking through a city where only 4 out of every 100 people are obese.
Right.
You look around, and the vast majority of the population is just, naturally lean.
Yeah.
Now, hop on a plane, land in a totally different city, and suddenly 40 out of every 100 people are obese.
Wow.
I mean, we are talking about a nearly tenfold difference here. Same planet, same exact species, completely different outcomes.
It's staggering. When you lay the numbers bare like that, it really forces a complete reevaluation of how we understand human health.
Exactly.
Because a discrepancy of that sheer magnitude, it just cannot be chalked up to a localized lack of discipline.
No, not at all. And today, we are taking you on a deep dive into this absolutely wild, on-the-ground investigation by YouTube creator Will Tennyson.
Yes, it's a great source.
He actually decided to travel to both of these extremes just to experience them firsthand. So he started in Little Rock, Arkansas, which currently holds the heavy title of America's most obese city. And then he flew completely across the globe to Tokyo, Japan, which is widely considered the world's skinniest city.
And our mission for this deep dive is to look past the obvious, really.
Yeah, we have to.
We aren't just going to list what these two populations are eating. We need to uncover the hidden mechanisms of why.
Right, the why is everything.
Exactly. We are going to explore how the physical spaces we move through and, the cultural waters we swim in shape our biology far more powerfully than sheer willpower ever could.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we even look at a single menu or like a grocery store aisle, we really have to talk about the physical architecture of these cities.
It's the foundation of everything.
It really is. How your city is designed completely dictates how you burn calories on a daily basis. So let's start on the ground in Little Rock.
Okay.
The physical reality of this environment is aggressively hostile to human movement. I mean, it is just sprawling.
Very spread out.
Yeah, you have these massive arterial streets lined back to back with drive-thrus, Popeyes, Wendy's, Pizza Hut. And the most striking part,
No sidewalks.
there are virtually no sidewalks.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is that the urban design fundamentally removes the human body from the equation of transit.
It totally does.
Tennyson actually notes that the downtown area is essentially a ghost town for pedestrians. You see vehicles moving everywhere, but you do not see human beings actually using their legs to navigate the space.
And it gets crazier. He actually goes to a local indoor mall just to, try and find a place where people are forced to walk around.
Right, a mall is usually a safe bet for walking.
You would think. But he discovers this detail that just blew my mind.
Yeah.
The mall literally does not offer stairs.
Wait, really? No stairs at
Well,
all?
None. If you want to get to the second floor, your absolute only option is an escalator.
That is incredible.
Right. There is zero structural encouragement to use your own muscles. I mean, living in Little Rock is like being stuck on one of those moving walkways at the airport.
Right.
And the only place a walkway leads is straight to a drive-through window. You have to actively fight the infrastructure of your own town just to get a baseline 10,000 steps.
Yeah, contrast that physical baseline with Tokyo, and you really start to see the mechanisms of environment at work.
Oh, night and day difference.
Tokyo is a dense metropolis of 37 million people. Yet, despite that staggering density, the streets are remarkably quiet.
Yeah, he mentioned that. No honking.
Right, you don't hear the constant drone of car horns. And the residents are effortlessly logging between 6,500 and 7,200 steps every single day.
And effortlessly is totally the magic word there. They aren't, waking up and grinding away on a treadmill for 2 hours before dawn.
No, they are just existing. They are commuting.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this ambient exercise is a direct result of urban planning.
Which goes way back, right?
It does. Tennyson spoke with an American expat named Joseph, who has lived in Japan for 15 years, and he points out that this traces back to post-World War II history.
Okay.
During the rebuilding phase, Japan made a conscious, systemic choice to prioritize rail infrastructure over roads for personal vehicles.
So they built a hyper-efficient public transit grid.
Exactly. And because it is so seamlessly integrated into daily life, owning a car in Tokyo just isn't the absolute necessity it is in Arkansas.
Right.
That lean physique is quite literally built into the concrete of the city. You walk to the station, you stand on the train, you walk to your office.
And that expectation of movement, it spills over into how they choose to start their mornings, too.
Yes, the park scene.
Oh my gosh, yes. Tennyson visits a local park at 6 in the morning, and it is just packed with elderly citizens engaged in radio taiso.
Which is such a brilliant concept.
It is. It's this nearly 100-year-old tradition of morning park exercises broadcast over the radio.
Right.
These older folks are outside, they're stretching, moving to the music, basically getting their joints lubricated for the day.
Right.
They're starting out with a communal baseline of flexibility. And when you compare that to the default morning routine in Little Rock, which seems to be like idling your car in a line waiting for a breakfast sandwich, the divergence is just stark.
It is, because the infrastructure dictates the movement, but it also dictates what you have access to while moving.
Oh, for sure.
When you are confined to a vehicle, your entire food ecosystem shrinks to whatever can be easily handed to you through a window or grabbed at a gas station.
And the crazy thing is those empty sidewalks in Little Rock don't just prevent you from walking. They literally trap you in what we can call the convenience trap.
That's a very accurate term for it.
This is where the investigation just gets visceral. Tennyson wants to find out what the baseline convenience breakfast looks like, so he visits a local donut shop.
Right.
He chats with a local guy, and this man's regular morning order for just him and his son is 4 glazed donuts.
Wow.
2 kolaches, which are basically dense sausage and cheese pastries, and a chocolate milk. And the kicker. It is incredibly cheap.
It's an immense, immediate spike in blood sugar and simple carbohydrates before the workday has even begun.
Yeah. And then we get to lunch. Tennyson decides to just order whatever the person in a car in front of him gets at Popeyes.
Oh, this part was eye-opening.
He ends up with a massive 6-pack of fried wings, which clocks in at 1,020 calories alone.
Just for the chicken.
Right. He gets an additional 180-calorie side of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
And he washes the entire thing down with what he literally calls a freaking kettlebell of sweet tea.
A kettlebell.
It is a literal gallon jug of heavily sweetened tea.
I mean, you are looking at a caloric payload that could fuel a marathon runner.
Seriously.
Delivered in minutes for a few dollars to a person who is sitting entirely stationary in a vehicle.
Okay, I'm tracking with you on the gallon of sweet tea, but let's be real for a second.
Okay.
Tokyo is a massive, highly commercialized metropolis, right? They have thousands of convenience stores. 7-Eleven is practically a religion over there.
It absolutely is.
So why aren't there fast food and convenience stores causing a 40% obesity rate? Why aren't they doing the exact same metabolic damage to the population?
That is the crucial distinction we have to make about the word convenience.
Oh, 'tis more yummy.
In Tokyo, convenience means accessibility, but it does not mandate junk.
Right.
When you walk into a Tokyo 7-Eleven, you aren't immediately assaulted by walls of high-fructose corn syrup and processed seed oils as the default option.
No, not at all.
The refrigerated sections are stocked with incredibly fresh, crisp salads, high-quality lean protein bowls, fruit cups, and zero-sugar lemonades.
The footage of the 7-Eleven is genuinely mind-blowing. Like, he grabs an egg salad sandwich and an onigiri, which is a traditional seaweed-wrapped rice ball with beef tucked inside.
Yes, very common snack there.
And it isn't just edible. It looks like something you'd get at a premium cafe here in the States.
Exactly.
But what really got me geeking out were the street vending machines.
Those are everywhere.
Right. In America, a vending machine means a bag of Doritos and a stale candy bar.
Yeah.
But in Tokyo, the sidewalk vending machine is essentially a high-performance supplement shop.
Well, when your baseline is 7,000 steps a day, your body actually demands functional hydration and fuel.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It doesn't just want empty entertainment calories to pass the time.
Exactly. Right on the street, he finds vending machines dispensing plain matcha, electrolyte waters, and BCAA drinks.
Branched chain amino acids.
Yeah. The stuff you usually only see gym bros drinking out of shaker bottles during heavy weightlifting sessions, just available on the sidewalk.
It's remarkable.
He even finds a machine that dispenses a hot, yogurt-like protein shake. It physically comes out warm.
Wow.
And it delivers 10.6 grams of protein for just 87 cents.
This raises an important question about our environmental defaults.
How do you mean?
Well, in Little Rock, a 32-ounce full-sugar soda is the default beverage. You actually have to go out of your way to find something else.
That's sadly very true.
In Tokyo, the default is a black coffee, a plain green tea, or a high-fiber drink. Tennyson even found a bottle of Coca-Cola in 7-Eleven that was specifically formulated with added dietary fiber.
Wait, fiber Coke? That is wild.
Yes. The culture simply refuses to accept empty calories as the standard. They engineer their convenience around actual sustenance.
It makes you realize that the drive-thru is just a symptom of a much larger issue.
Right.
The real issue is volume and presentation. Because what happens when these populations actually sit down in a restaurant? This brings us to the psychology of plating.
A very telling comparison.
Tennyson takes a look at a sit-down breakfast menu in Little Rock, and he literally describes it as a laminated cry for help.
The sheer engineering that goes into maximizing caloric density on a single plate is uniquely American.
Oh, it's an art form.
Right.
Half the breakfast menu was essentially dessert masquerading as a morning meal.
Right.
There are kids' meals featuring a unicorn pancake covered in sugary syrups and sprinkles, and the appetizer section.
An appetizer for breakfast.
I know. Who on earth needs an appetizer for breakfast, let alone a 1,000-plus calorie cinnamon roll?
It's just massive volume.
And then he orders the main course, called the Eureka Sandwich.
Mm.
It is like a structural engineering project designed entirely out of saturated fats.
Oh, boy.
Fried chicken, bacon jam, thick bacon mayo, and a slab of cheese, all shoved between a heavily buttered biscuit bun.
That is incredibly dense.
And served on the side is a bowl of grits, so heavily saturated with bacon fat, it practically functions as mortar.
And we also have to examine the buffet culture. He visits the Golden Corral, right?
Oh, yeah, the all-you-can-eat.
Where you pay $16 for unlimited access. You observe plates where people are just stacking pure, chaotic volume.
Chaotic is the right word.
There is no culinary narrative. You have a slice of pizza popped with a scoop of Mexican rice sitting right next to a sweet potato casserole that is quite literally smothered in toasted marshmallows.
There's literally no structure to the meal, just infinite volume until you physically cannot move. So how does Tokyo handle this sit-down dining experience?
It is the absolute polar opposite. It's governed by intention and boundaries.
Okay, tell me about that.
Tennyson is introduced to toshoku, which is the standard Japanese meal format. The word translates to one soup, 3 dishes.
Right.
It is a highly structured presentation. You receive a single tray containing a small designated bowl of rice, a bowl of hot miso soup, and 3 small side dishes.
Like what?
Perhaps a modest piece of grilled fish, a small portion of stewed seaweed, and some pickled radish.
I mean, the tray looks beautiful like a piece of art, but the portions look incredibly small compared to the sheer mass of that Eureka sandwich.
They are smaller in volume, yes, but they are incredibly nutrient-dense. And this ties directly into a core Japanese philosophical concept called hara hachibu.
Hara hachibu, what does that mean?
It translates roughly to eating until your stomach is 80% full.
Okay.
The goal is not to eat until you are stuffed to the brim. The goal is to eat until you are simply no longer hungry.
Okay, I have to be honest here. As someone who absolutely loves food, living life on 80% battery sounds a little miserable.
I can see why you think that.
Right. Like, why artificially stop when you clearly still have room in the tank?
Because human biology is deceptive. What's fascinating here is that the human digestive system operates on a delay.
Oh, really?
Yes, it takes approximately 20 minutes for the stretch receptors in your stomach to signal to your brain that you have consumed enough food.
Oh, like when you eat an entire pizza and feel totally fine, and then 20 minutes later you're lying on the couch in absolute agony, wondering what you've done with your life.
Precisely. That agony is the delay catching up with you.
Wow. Okay.
If you consciously stop eating when you feel 80% full and you just wait 20 minutes, that 80% sensation naturally blossoms into 100% satisfaction as the brain registers the intake.
That is so wild.
If you eat until you feel 100% full in the moment, 20 minutes later, you are at 120%. You feel bloated, lethargic, and completely overstuffed.
That makes so much physiological sense.
Yeah.
And the way the Tishoku meal is presented actually forces you to slow down and buy time for that 20-minute delay, right? Because you have all these separate little bowls.
Yes, exactly. The presentation dictates the pace.
Right.
Tennyson jokingly referred to it as food interval training. You take a deliberate bite of fish, you set it down, you pick up the bowl of rice for a bite, set it down, you take a sip of soup.
It's very methodical.
It is. You are constantly shifting your focus and engaging with different textures. And crucially, you are navigating all of this using chopsticks.
Right. Tennyson joked that a literal muzzle wouldn't slow him down as much as the chopsticks did.
It's true.
He physically could not shovel the food into his mouth if he tried.
Because chopsticks create a mechanical barrier to rapid, mindless consumption. In America, the default utensil is a wide fork, and the default presentation is a massive unified pile of food on a single large plate. You just shovel it.
Shovel it in.
The Japanese method forces mindfulness. The food is separated into visually defined portions, and the utensil demands dexterity and precision.
Yeah.
It naturally elongates the mealtime, so your brain has the necessary time to catch up with your stomach.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because you have to wonder, why do these two populations accept such wildly different food environments?
That's the core of it.
Right. Why does a resident in Little Rock simply accept a 1,000-calorie appetizer as totally normal, while a resident in Tokyo accepts the discipline of an 80% full philosophy?
It's a great question.
If it isn't sheer willpower what makes it stick, well, it really comes down to the stark differences in education and cultural expectations.
Yes. Education is perhaps the most tragic disparity uncovered in this entire investigation.
It really is.
Statistically, Little Rock has the absolute lowest number of health educators per capita in the United States.
And the knowledge gap he exposes is just heartbreaking. Tennyson takes to the streets to play a trivia game with the locals, offering them $1 for correct answers to incredibly basic health and nutrition questions.
And the results were revealing.
It was eye-opening. People literally didn't know how many calories were in a gram of protein or gram of fat.
Right.
When he asked how many calories are in a standard bottle of water, one participant was visibly baffled and guessed that it definitely wasn't 0.
Wow.
I know. When he asked what the average daily calorie intake should be for an adult human, someone genuinely guessed 1,000 calories.
It reveals a profound systemic blind spot. You cannot practice portion control if you do not understand what a portion actually represents.
Exactly. And I want to be really clear here to you listening. This isn't a moral failure on the part of the people in Little Rock.
No, not at all.
It's a systemic failure. You only know what you're taught. If you grow up in an environment where no one explains basic macronutrients to you, and your school lunches look like, as one local actually described it, to Tennyson jail food.
Oh, it's sad.
I know. Of course, you're going to grow up with terrible habits. The chronic diseases just accumulate over the decades because the foundational knowledge was literally never built.
Now contrast that vacuum of knowledge with Tokyo's systemic advantage.
Let's hear it.
In Japan, health and nutritional education is integrated strictly and early. School meals aren't just highly processed commodities thrown together by the lowest corporate bidder.
Which is pretty common here.
Right. Over there, they are strictly designed by certified nutritional experts. Children are taught from a very young age exactly what a balanced plate looks like.
That is so smart.
They learn the mathematics of portion control, the value of seasonal vegetables, and most importantly, they learn what a healthy baseline physically feels like in their own bodies.
So they are building that internal compass early on. But how does that compass survive into adulthood?
What do you mean?
Well, when they get their own money and independence, why don't they just rebel and start buying gallon jugs of sweet tea?
Because that internal compass is constantly reinforced by an external pressure.
External pressure.
Yes. Japan is a highly communal society. Joseph, the American expat, brings up this brilliant sociological concept known as the social I.
The social I. That sounds slightly intimidating. What does that actually look like in practice?
It refers to the ambient communal pressure to fit into standard healthy expectations.
Okay.
In Japan, there is a deep-seated cultural awareness that you are part of a collective whole. If you are significantly overweight, there is an unspoken cultural perception that you aren't fitting the communal standard.
That makes sense.
That perhaps you aren't managing yourself well enough to contribute efficiently to the group.
Wow.
It might sound restrictive to fiercely individualistic Western ears, but that social eye is always watching, and it subtly but powerfully drives the entire population to stay lean and conform to a healthy norm.
And you can see that communal standard legally enforced in their commerce, too.
Yes, the advertising laws.
Exactly. Tennyson visits Moose Burger, which is a very famous Japanese fast food chain, and he points out that Japan has strict advertising laws, where the picture of the food on the menu board actually has to match the reality of what is served to you on the tray.
Which is brilliant, really. It prevents the psychological manipulation of supersizing.
Yeah.
You cannot bait a customer with a towering, impossible burger and switch it for a greasy, flattened puck.
Right. So he orders their signature burger, and it clocks in at under 400 calories. And when he unwraps it, it actually looks just like the picture.
A normal, fresh, modest-sized hamburger.
Yeah. Compare that to the American landscape, where a Big Mac or a Whopper is well over 500 or 600 calories, looks the size of a hubcap on the highway billboard, and is scientifically engineered to trigger every dopamine receptor you have.
Right, the contrast is stark.
And this shift in scale isn't just in the food. You see the ultimate result of this in their clothing.
The clothing size discrepancy is perhaps the most perfect, tangible metric for this environmental contrast.
It is wild. While he's in Little Rock, he goes into a standard clothing store, and he finds racks of shirts that go all the way up to an 8XL.
8XL.
Just visualizing the sheer amount of fabric required for an 8XL shirt is staggering.
It is.
He actually asks the clerk what the most popular size they sell is, and the clerk casually replies that it's a 5XL.
Wow.
The store intentionally stocks up to 8XL because there's a massive steady demand for it.
Because the environment demands it.
Exactly. Then he goes to Japan, and the standard sizes are dramatically smaller because the entire communal norm is shifted downward.
Right.
What is considered a perfectly normal body weight in America would often require specialty plus-size clothing in Japan.
It perfectly illustrates a feedback loop.
How so?
Well, an environment adjusts its commerce and infrastructure to accommodate its inhabitants, and in turn, the inhabitants are continuously shaped and molded by that exact environment.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? We've explored the sprawling, drive-through, heavy, sugar-loaded infrastructure of Little Rock.
Right.
And we've compared it to the walkable, nutrient-dense, socially conscious architecture of Tokyo. How does this translate to your own life?
I think the ultimate takeaway from this deep dive is a necessary reevaluation of willpower.
Yes, absolutely.
In the West, we constantly frame health and obesity as a strict test of personal discipline. But what Tennyson's investigation so clearly demonstrates is that Tokyo's residents are not armed with some superhuman, unbreakable willpower.
No, they aren't.
And Little Rock's residents are not inherently lazy.
The environments are just pulling the strings.
Exactly.
In Japan, the healthy choice is quite literally the most convenient choice available. If you want a snack on your walk to work, you pass 5 vending machines offering you hot protein shakes and zero-sugar matcha. In Arkansas, the unhealthy choice is the most convenient choice. If you want a snack, you have to drive your car past 3 fast food places pushing 1,000-calorie combo meals just to get to a grocery store.
If the default options surrounding you are engineered for caloric density and sedentary behavior, you have to expend a massive amount of mental friction every single day to swim against that current.
It's exhausting.
In Tokyo, the current naturally pulls you toward health. You don't have to fight it, you just float.
It really makes you want to critically examine the vending machines in your own life. What are the easy default options you've set up in your kitchen pantry or on your daily commute?
That's a great question to ask yourself.
I want to say a huge thank you to you for joining us on this deep dive today. I hope it gave you some fascinating insights into how the world around us shapes the bodies we live in.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
Take a look around your own life this week. Look at your home layout, your route to the office, the apps on your phone.
Yeah.
If you changed absolutely nothing about your internal willpower, but you entirely redesigned the convenience of the spaces you move through, what would your health look like a year from now?